Hello grade 2, how are you? Now this is the video to explain you the lessons of week 5. Now for the first session we continue with module 4 food and drink, and we start with lesson 4 the story, and we then do the revision. So the story you find it on page 62-63 and the revision is on pages 67 and 68. Now let's start with the story. So we go to the student's book page 62-63. Now before that we have a warm-up activity here. So I would like you to look at the different pictures of the meals. So we have spaghetti, chicken, chips, salad, bread, steak, hot dog, pizza, hamburger, soup, fish, cereals, sandwich, cheese, fried egg, sausages, cake, rice. Now I would like you to tell me what you like to eat. I like to eat, and you complete with the names of the meals you like, what you choose. Then we go to the reading activity. So this is the story in activity 1. So we have here some questions to answer. Look at picture 1. Who are the main characters? Where are they? So here you give me their names and where they are. Then you play the recording to read with it. So you listen and you read to the story in order to know what will happen to Sami. Then you read again to find and circle the words of food and drinks in the story. So all the words that are related to food and drinks, you have to find them in the story and you circle them. Then we move to comprehension. So the first question is Sami hungry? Then what does Sami want and what does Ali want? Does Sami like tomato soup? And what about Ali? What does Sami have for dessert? Then you read picture 6 and 7. What's the matter with Sami? And why does he feel this way? Then we go to picture 8. Where are the boys and does Sami feel better? Then we have the value at the bottom of the text is written, don't eat too much food. So when we eat too much food, it is unhealthy. It can cause stomachache, like it happened to Sami. So when Sami felt bad, he had a stomachache. Then we move to the exercises in the workbook, page 56. I would like you to do activity 1 and activity 2. Now let's go to class 2. So this time we start a new So after the story, we have part 3, the revision. So we have on pages 67 and 68. Now, we have activity 1 on page 67, then activity 2. Here I have written for you the listening transcript to be read to the student, and activity 3 and 4. Then we finish with activity 5 still on page 68, and then we move to the workbook exercises on page 59. Now here we have activity 1, activity 2, I have also written the listening transcript to be read, then activity 3, and we have a handwriting activity on page 62. Now let's go here to class 2. So here we start with unit, the last one, what I eat. So we continue to deal with food. Now lesson 1 here is entitled Song. So you find it in the student's book, page 71. Now, as a warm-up activity here, I ask you some questions about your own experience, what you do at home. So when do you have breakfast? When do you have dinner? And then you look at activity 1 on page 71 where you have the new vocabulary. Then we move to the listening activity in activity 2, the song. Here, first thing, I would like you to pay attention to the pictures and I want you to tell what you see in them. Then you play the song that is entitled It's Time for Breakfast. What is the meal in picture 1? What do you see in picture 1? And what is the meal in picture 2? Then you play the song again and you read along with it. Then I have here some questions to check comprehension. So here, what is there for breakfast? So what are the meals for breakfast? And is there any lettuce for dinner? Are there any tomatoes? And what are they going to make? What are they going to make with the lettuce, the tomatoes? Now, here, this song opens up the possibility to deal with the difference between countable and uncountable nouns. So, when we read the sentences from the song, we have there's some milk, some cereal, and some eggs too. And here we have another one, there's some lettuce, there are some tomatoes, and some onions too. Now, when we deal with the things, essentially when we deal with food, we make the difference between countable and uncountable nouns. Now, countable nouns are the ones I have put in green color. So we have eggs, tomatoes, and onions. So countable nouns are things that I can count. I say 1 egg, 2 eggs, 3 eggs, etc. 1 tomatoes, 2 tomatoes, 3 tomatoes, 1 onion, 2 onions, 3 onions, 10 onions, etc. I can count them. But when we deal with milk, cereal or lettuce, I cannot count them. They are uncountable. I can't say 1 milk. I say some milk, some milk. I can't say 2 cereals or 3 cereals. We say some cereal. I cannot say 1 or 2 lettuce. I say some lettuce. Now, I have given you other, let's say, information in the table. Now here, when we deal with countable nouns, so we always have a singular form and a plural form. So we say 1 egg, 2 or 3 or 4 eggs. Tomato, tomatoes, be careful. Here we add es. We have onion, onions. So many nouns are called countable because we can count them. For example, we say a tomato, 2 tomatoes, 3 tomatoes, an orange, 2 oranges, 3 oranges. Now here I have added the use of the articles a or an. It is the same as we say 1. It has the same meaning, okay? But for an, we use it when the first letter of the noun is a vowel, because we can't say a orange. It is difficult to pronounce. Also, we say that we can use countable nouns in singular and plural forms. But for uncountable nouns, we have only singular forms. Singular only. So we say milk, cereal, lettuce. We cannot say milks or cereals or lettuces. So other nouns are uncountable because we can't count them. For example, water, we cannot say 1 water or 2 waters. Oil, sugar, bread, rice, etc. So we use uncountable nouns in the singular form only. We say butter, but not butters. It's not possible. Now, since we deal with singular and plural nouns, we can use with them there is or there are. There is used for singular noun and there are for plural nouns. So we use there is for something that exists in a place, and there are for more than one thing. So with more than one to say plural things that exist in a place. Now, for number one, we use there is or there's in the contraction and a or an with the singular countable nouns. For example, there's a banana in the basket, or there's an onion in the fridge. For the plural form, we use there are and some with plural countable nouns. Or we can say there are some pears in the bag. Some here to say I don't have the exact number. There are some eggs on the table. We can also use there is and some with uncountable nouns. There's some bread in the kitchen, to say there is a quantity. There's some lettuce in the fridge. So we say that we use some to refer to the quantity of nouns. Some refers to a small quantity. It's not too much. Then here I have added an exercise just to practice the uses of these new expressions and words. So complete the sentences. Use there is, there are, an, and some. So if you look at the picture each time and you complete the blanks of the sentences. So here we have cake, sandwiches, milk, pizza. Ice cream, sugar, banana, and spaghetti. So you will have to make the difference between countable and uncountable nouns. Then we move to the exercises of the workbook you will find on page 63. So I have added as usual the listening transcript for activity 1, and then you do activity 2. Now let's move now to lesson 3. So this is module 5, what I eat, lesson 2, top stars. Now you find it in the book page 72, 73. So as a warm-up activity, first I would like you to look at the new vocabulary you have in activity 1, page 72. And then you answer my question here. What do you need to make an omelette? Tick the ingredients you need. So you will tick here. This is a place where you eat. So eggs, coconut, pancakes, cheese, tomatoes, pineapple, peas, carrots. Then we move to the reading activity. So activity 2, page 72. We have here some questions to introduce the story. Where are Nora, Aisha, and her mother? Is the mother preparing lunch? Play the recording and read along with it. So we have here some questions to check comprehension. What is Aisha's mom cooking for lunch? Is there any cheese in Nora's omelette? What is there in Aisha's omelette? And what's for dessert? Then, as a post-reading activity, I have made this exercise. So answer the questions according to the picture. So, here, is there any cheese? Yes, there is. Is there any milk? So you have to answer. Look here at the picture. Are there any peas? Look here. Are there any coconuts? So what will you answer? Then we use is there or are there any to ask if something exists in a place, if we can find it now or not. Any is used in questions with countable nouns in the plural form and with uncountable nouns. So we can say, is there any lettuce? So this is with uncountable nouns. Or are there any apples? And you notice we all use the plural form here. Then we move to activity 3, page 73. Then activity 4. So here I have added the listening transcript. And finally, we go to part 2, the workbook activities you will find on page 64 and 65. So here we have 4 exercises to do. Now, I hope that this video will help. See you next week.